I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, Grey's Anatomy fans? We're back again for another after show of this amazing show. I'm your host, Benny Adams. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a lot to talk about today, but before we get into it, I have to introduce you to my amazing panel. We got Miss Haley.
Hey everyone, excited to be here. I am in the live chat, excited to see what you all thought about this episode.
And then we got Miss Doctor Who trivia person who is always stumping me like no other, Miss Lanisha.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Benny, I believe you're going to get this one. I'm believing you.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. And then we got Miss Chelsea. How is it going, Chelsea?
Hey everyone, it's going good. Excited to be here. Great episode. So I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in this episode. But like I said, we have a lot to talk about today. And we have our Doctor Who segment and we have our predictions. But let's just get right into it. Chelsea, what did you think about this episode?
It was really good. I think it's going to lead into a really good season finale, which we're going to get next week. I could definitely see some cliffhangers. But no, I thought my favorite part, hands down, Link and Amelia. I'm loving them as a couple. And even though that was a false alarm, Link is such a great dad already. So even though he's nervous, he has it. He's going to be fine.
What about you, Lanisha?
Oh my gosh, yes, always Team Link and Amelia. That little mini freak out was just too cute and funny. I love that scene. It did get me emotional with Richard's storyline. I am feeling some type of way, but, and I'll say some stuff later, I do feel opportunities coming this way.
Oh, and last but not least, Miss Haley.
Yeah, I was a fan of this episode. It overall to me was just a really solid one. And surprisingly, what I enjoyed the most was how they're continuously humanizing Tom Karasik for us. And this was one of those episodes that really did that for me. And we saw flashes into more so who he is and kind of what makes him his character. And I really liked that part.
Yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Was it like an, oh my gosh, this is like an amazing episode? I wouldn't say that, but I thought it was a good, solid episode. I want to talk about Richard's storyline first. His storyline was my favorite. Felt so bad for the guy. We open the episode where they're trying to figure out what's wrong with this guy. They're listing out, all of his symptoms, and then they start talking about things that have happened to him in past seasons that may have brought him to where he is today. Someone that I want to get your opinion about is Katherine Fox and how she's handling the situation. What did you think about that, Chelsea?
At first, I could tell when she was in the plane, she just had this guilty trip at the beginning of the episode. She's sitting there with Richard, like, how did I not know about this? And she puts a lot of it on herself. And then I think with Katherine, whenever she gets frustrated or she just feels like something is out of her hands, she snaps at people. She even snapped at the whole crew when she came in saying, okay, you guys, you've got to get to work. You got to figure this out. You're just acting like interns. And then Jackson was able to calm her down when they were in the conference room saying, look, we are all scared and we're trying our hardest here. So, and I really liked how she said, I can't be in that room with him, but you guys have to pick up the pieces. So I liked how she said that. I like that moment between Jackson and Katherine. I feel like they always had the best mother and son relationship. So I think she just has this guilt on her that she wasn't there for Richard. And I love when she said, I just let my pride get in the way too.
Yeah.
Really looking at the whole situation.
What about you, Haley?
I want to echo exactly what Chelsea just said. especially her finally kind of admitting that it has been her pride that has gotten in the way from their relationship. We've kind of been waiting for that moment. And I think all of this, unfortunately, when you get in a fight with someone and something like this happens, it ends up kind of taking a toll and you realize you really do care for that person, which I think is what Catherine's going through. But honestly, the scene that broke my heart for her was when Richard started talking about Adele,
Yeah.
and you can tell that he's even having a hard time remembering Catherine in these moments. And to me, when she heard him refer to Adele, saw on her face like she just broke. And that to
Hmm.
me, like that was like, wow, Richard's not in a good place. And that's
Right.
the moment that I really, really started to see it.
Mhm.
What about you, Lanisha?
Honestly, you would say that Richard, like moments breaks your heart, but seeing Catherine and her going through this really breaks
Hmm.
my heart because she handled it very smart at first when she was saying like, "Yeah, I was there. Okay, yeah." I think she handled it very great as far as like handling someone's mentality. You got to be very careful when it comes to that type of stuff.
Mhm.
So I like how she handled it, and you could see how she's trying to stay strong. How she strikes
Yeah.
at other people, she's trying to really stay strong. But when she breaks, and that's what that part with Jackson broke my heart when she says like, "I can't do this."
Hmm.
That broke my heart because it's like, man, I'm literally seeing this woman that that's trying to be like tough girl, strong, but literally just breaks. And
Yeah.
it's like I could connect with that. I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
I hope it gets better for them too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just I agree with all of that. I understand that she's going through a tough time, and she definitely is handling it the best way she can. It just sucks so much that it had to come to this for her to realize I really do love this man. So that's the downfall of it. I want to talk about Meredith's situation. A lot of the doctors, they're saying it might be what Meredith's mother had, and Meredith keeps shutting it down like no other. So you would think it's just because, oh, she's lived with the person who had this. But for me, I kind of got the feeling that she just doesn't want to accept it whatsoever because she knows what her mother went through, and she doesn't want that for Richard. Did you guys get that same feeling, Haley?
I definitely did. I thought it was interesting how she's so adamant about saying that it isn't Alzheimer's, because I mean, at this point, all of the signs kind of point to that, especially even in how they're handling it from a doctor's perspective. Because
Hmm.
another show that I'm actually on with AfterBuzz is This Is Us, and a character there, the way they kind of were discovering the dementia and the levels of it was the
Yeah,
same test that they did with Richard of him just drawing and doing simple tasks and doing simple memory things, and he wasn't able to do that. So to me, I definitely agree with you that I think Meredith is slightly in a state of denial. And I don't think it was until that scene where the two of them are back in the operating room together and he's about to cut himself open and he refers to her as Ellis that
yeah,
I think it was in that moment that she knew like this is serious and this could be what I think it is.
right. What about you, Lanisha?
Yeah, I think you guys hit it right on the nose. I think Meredith was definitely in denial as far as she doesn't want to see Richard, one of her favorite people, like her mentor, go through this. And it might be something a little bit even worse because she even had to go to DeLuca for this
Hmm.
situation.
Yeah,
Out of everybody, like she's going to DeLuca because she
right.
really wants to figure this out. But I don't think she should be ruling out Alzheimer's. And I understand she's close to this person, but you shouldn't rule something out because you could actually be doing more harm than good.
Yeah,
So,
See,
and it sucks because everybody's close to him. So you can't like take people off. Like you can't take people off of this.
yeah.
But like Meredith, I feel like is kind of like his daughter in a way.
Hmm.
See, I really respect her for going to DeLuca because despite the episodes that we've seen him have, we know that he is incredibly determined right now.
Yeah.
And he's the only one that has the relationship he had with the doctor we saw a couple episodes ago, and going through the processes of when you don't know what's wrong, you have to do all of these things to rule things out. And so I thought it was actually really smart of her to go to DeLuca and be like, hey, I know you've been working on this. Tell me what you
Hmm.
know. Because, and on the same note, he kind of told Bailey, and I think Bailey recognizes it also, because while Bailey doesn't want DeLuca directly involved, she could still respect the fact that he's a doctor and he knows what he's doing. Like, I liked the interaction when he was like, well, she sent me a list of everything we should be doing. And Bailey was like, send me that list. You know,
Right.
Because Bailey knows she was wrong last time. She don't want to be wrong
Exactly.
again. She know good and well DeLuca was right that time. She
Yeah.
ain't trying to have that again.
I know. And to bounce off of that too, even DeLuca made a point saying, look, right now, since I'm suspended, I'm seeing Richard as not as a patient, but kind of as a friend. And I'm having conversations with him where I'm
Right.
able to read more than just a chart. So I really like how he brought that to Bailey's attention as well.
And Chelsea, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that scene where DeLuca is in the room with Richard, this is the first time we see him in this episode, and they're in the room. Literally, I thought, we don't know if DeLuca has something or not. The writers haven't revealed it yet. We for sure know something Richard has it, but I'm like, here are these two guys who firmly think nothing is wrong with them whatsoever, and their loved ones are trying to take care of them like no other, especially Meredith. So she has two guys in the same room who she loves deeply. And I just thought that was so interesting. I thought that was so brilliant that the writers were able to do that.
And both a little stubborn. They're both a
Exactly.
little stubborn.
A little,
okay?
yeah.
They do not want help at all.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, I thought that was cool. Let's talk about Mr. Karasik, his storyline. I had some mixed opinions about his storyline, but we pretty much start off with, well, Teddy still hasn't told Owen yet. She's still keeping that secret. And then we see we're introduced to a woman who is his ex-wife, and she has a son that looks exactly like Krasik's son that passed away, and we find out that he has cancer. And like you guys said earlier, his whole human side comes out. And my problem, not really a problem, I like the storyline, but the issue I had was, we've seen Tom in this situation before, where he has these storylines that show his human side, that show his raw emotion, but then those storylines don't last and we get taken back to the old Tom. So my only thing is, I hope this storyline continues, even though I have a feeling it doesn't. But I wanted to know, what did you all think about it, Lanisha?
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with Tom. But he's at least consistent with one thing. The times that we do see his human side is either when it comes to it down to his son, or when
Mm-hmm.
it comes down
Yeah.
to Teddy. So I do feel like that part is continuing. And with this one, it's just so hard to dislike him,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, you realize, like, okay, you're not a robot. So I do kind of like that the writers, I was about to say the robots. I do like that the writers bring us back to, okay, Tom's not this evil person, reminding you there is a human side. He did go through some things. So let's
Mhm.
remember that this is why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
And this is the one time where we actually get to see him not actually knowing what to do, because he's the one in the room that thinks he knows it all.
Right.
So it was interesting seeing that part where it's just like him actually saying, I can't do this. I was just like, who is this?
Yeah.
And see, for me, I think, like, going off of what you said, Benny, about how they kind of give us a little bit about Tom, but then he goes back to the Tom that we know and we love to hate. But I think that the purpose behind this is more so to move the needle on Teddy and Tom's relationship. So I think by giving us this storyline in this episode, we're reminded about how much he cares for the people that he loves. And we're
Right.
reminded about kind of the damage and the baggage that Tom carries with him. And then the fact that it was Teddy to bring him through it, that to me almost showed how strong their relationship actually is. And the part that ultimately ended up bothering me was how Teddy, when she feels things deeply, it seems like her automatic response is to run for the hills and go to what's safe. And that's what she did
Mhm.
this episode, because that moment in the OR between her and Tom, that was one of the most powerful moments of her being able to say, "Hey, listen to my voice." She pulled him out of it and he was able to do a successful surgery. And what I thought was even more special about that moment was he had just gotten through telling her, "I've lived my whole life wishing and wondering if I would have been able to get there in time to operate on my son, would he have lived?" And I feel like
Yeah.
this was kind of a closure moment for Tom to be able to do the procedure and
Mhm.
help this boy live at, even though he never got to do that with his son.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
definitely. Bouncing off of you, Haley, I was going to say the same thing where I felt like it was such a powerful scene that we saw between Teddy and Tom. And yeah, he's in the operating room and he's like, "I can't do this." And Teddy's the one be able to push him through it. So I do think we definitely see this strong relationship with them. But then now again, Teddy's with Owen and they're trying to move things forward with that relationship. So it's kind of a love-hate relationship almost.
Yeah, she needs to honestly make a she needs to stop dragging somebody along. She's
She's
either
a
dragging
mess.
Owen on or she's dragging Tom on, and she needs to stop it. She needs to get with one and just be with that one.
Well,
Because
I
I
mean,
do
she basically chose though, because she went to Owen and she was like, "I don't care. We can throw out all the plans. I'm ready to get married."
she
Okay.
chose, but did she really like,
All
you
right.
know what I'm saying?
I want to ask you a question on this because I was like, Teddy, you were full of it by doing this. I don't think she chose by going to Owen and saying, "Oh, let's do all this stuff. I'm all in." I think her feelings are so strong for Karasik that
Mhm.
she feels like if she says this to Owen, everything is going to be okay and she can escape these feelings from Karasik, and it's not going to be okay. If anything, she's making things 10 times worse because she is making Owen believe that they have this very tight, very strong relationship. And then on the other end, she's, touching Karasik's hand and they're super close and they're bonding even more. She's stringing both guys along. She's a mess. She is a
No, yeah.
complete mess.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, when she starts to feel something incredibly real, that's when she kind of packs her things up and runs for what's comfortable. And what's comfortable for her is everything that comes with Owen. That's a safety net for her. He's always been in her life. He knows her so well. They have a son. Like everything about that is safe and easy. What she knows wouldn't be easy is going through the motions of having to tell Owen what she's been feeling for
Mhm.
Tom, actually having to make that gut wrenching decision, because right now, homegirl has her cake and she's eating it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Snap, snap.
All right. And I love what Betty was saying about I like that you caught that, how she was just touching him and stuff. Girl,
Yeah,
stop touching all up on him. You know he's emotional right now.
exactly.
This is like
Exactly.
this is like the opposite of like when women say like guys go on women when we're feeling all sad and emotional. No, this is like now the opposite. Like he's now going through things and kind of like she feeling with emotion, kind of throwing in
Right.
her romance up in there. Stop it,
Right.
Teddy.
Well, see, my whole thing is I'm not condoning cheating, but I do understand, people fall out of love, they fall in love. My whole thing is don't go to Krasik and say, we can't do this. I love Owen, blah, 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 blah. and then hang out with Karasik and give him mixed signals by touching him, and like I honestly thought they were gonna make out for a second.
Me
So
too.
Yeah.
she can't be doing that. Let's talk about, this was probably the most weirdest storyline to me. It kind of fell in with Link and Amelia, because I want to talk about them as well, but the patience that Link had, and the woman who just automatically just started singing, and I'm like, are we getting another Grey's Anatomy musical? And I just, what did you think about? Because what did they call that? What did they call what she had? Like singophobia or something? I don't know.
No, like music something.
Yeah, it was like
Music.
it basically was just because of her being put under the anesthesia that these were the side effects that happened.
Right. And I'm just, every Grey's Anatomy episode, I always try to connect. There's always like a theme, and there's always a reason why they're doing what they're doing. And I was trying so hard to figure out why this storyline with the patient who can sing. Like, I get it, the moral of it, you love someone no matter what. But I was like, is that it? So I wanted to know what were your thoughts on all of that?
Well, what I think is because it was Link's patient, but then keep freaking out about being a dad and thinking what happen if things aren't perfect? The safest place that this baby's at is right now inside Amelia. As soon as it's born, I have to worry about all of these things for this baby. And I think maybe the message was with the patient and his wife. And even though she came out of their surgery not perfect, you're still going to love it and you're going to work through those difficult situations. And maybe that was the message for Link to learn, hey, you're about to be a dad. You can't plan anything out. You don't know what's going to happen. But as long as you work together with a family and you love this person unconditionally, you can get through anything.
I like it.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking that, but now I am. I automatically just went back to Cali. Okay, it just made me have like a flashback to when she was hearing people sing. So I was like, was that going on when that happened? But wow, Chelsea, you actually made me think.
Yeah, see, and I also think at the same point, like, I thought it had a little bit to do with like Owen as well, and like showing like how Owen keeps thinking like Teddy's the one, and no matter what, like, and Owen's just like so committed to like his relationship right now. And I think we've always seen Owen want what that couple had, to be old in age, to be with someone for this long, and to love someone unconditionally no matter what. And I do agree with Chelsea that both of those doctors were in that case for a reason.
Yeah. How excited were you all when you thought Amelia was actually gonna give birth? I was so stoked.
I was worried.
Well, yeah.
Because how long is she now?
Ooh, that's a good question.
So I mean,
she's pretty pregnant.
Yeah, but I thought it would be like early, and due to her past of her losing the baby, I was just like, no, the baby can not come right
She's
now.
Not gonna lose that baby.
I don't want her to. So that's why I was just like, I was getting a little worried, because it was like, it seemed like it was early. Because why would she be operating like knowing that she's about to give birth at any point? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was just like, I hope she's not having the baby right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just kind of like, okay, it's happening. Like, I thought they would make a bigger deal about it. And you know what I mean? Where like the focus of the episode was obviously Richard, and that's kind of where the focal point of the show is at right now. And so just for her to just casually have the baby mid episode, I thought was a little strange. But I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. And I almost kind of would have rather it have happened this way, because then we would have known that there's going to be no complications. Like by them just kind of making it be a moving along storyline, I would have much rather it have happened that way. But it was cute the way they wrote it, and the fact that she was like, okay, come to think of it, they don't hurt as bad now that I know that the baby isn't coming. Like, it was just another cute moment for us to just fall even more in love with Amelia and Link.
Yeah.
Most
Yes.
definitely. But I was freaking out. I will tell you that. I was freaking out because she was like in the middle of a procedure in somebody's brain. Like, so I was just like,
Yeah.
somebody get her corrected. Get it together.
Yeah.
Get it together, Tom.
But yeah,
She's-
that's when I was like, Tom, move. And he even tells Amelia, oh, your water hasn't broken yet. You know, you still have some time.
Right.
No, get in here now.
Oh, see, I was on the board. I was like, he's not wrong. Like the water.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Like, yeah. Like I thought that the way in that moment, the way that I thought that scene was going to go was Tom was going to be in there and he was going to talk Amelia through it. I did not think because he was right. The water hadn't broken, but I mean, I know she's in a lot of pain and stuff, but that's
Yeah.
that's the direction I thought that they were going with it. I didn't expect the way that it ended up.
Yeah, that
You
I
can't be doing it in pain. Ow. Ow.
that would be
Let's be honest.
be
If anyone could do it, Amelia Shepherd could do it.
that would
Good
definitely
point.
be an interesting scene. Interesting thing, but there's no way that I don't think Amelia's gonna lose that baby. Miranda, she's already lost the baby. Amelia lost a baby years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't see the writers doing that. That would be awful if they
That
didn't
would be
do
some
that.
sick writers. Like,
Yeah.
come on now.
Yeah,
Let's have a
Um,
child.
right. So that was our review of Grey's Anatomy. Did you ladies have any final thoughts of this episode?
One thing we didn't really reach as much about Bailey. I think we're gonna go into it a little bit more with their storyline next episode.
Mhm.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing that because, as we know, they do have that tight relationship too. And Richard is her person. We
Yeah.
always have everybody who have their person. Bailey and Richard, like Richard is Bailey's person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I am dreading, but also looking forward to seeing that storyline play out some more next episode.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Let's go to our special segment, Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Okay. Are y'all ready?
yes.
No, but let's do
Yes, I know.
First one is, it's not Tyler's fault you're a dirty, dirty stripper.
What?
Wait,
I'll
repeat
say
that?
it one more time. It's
Who's
not
Tyler?
Tyler's fault you're a dirty, dirty stripper.
Who was a stripper?
I honestly have no idea. Gonna be
I have no
truthful.
business.
Okay, throw out a name. Ready? Go, Chelsea. Throw out a name.
Meredith.
Okay, Benny, throw out a name.
Yang.
I was gonna say Christina too.
Oh my gosh!
Am I
and
right?
the winner is Meredith. Yes, okay, Chelsea got it right.
Random.
But the funny thing is, Meredith said this to Yang.
Oh,
And
Well-
when Yang got caught on top of Burke and then the parents walked in.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. One more for you guys. I believe in you. Ready?
yes.
Yeah.
What are you? Cheerleader? Step aside, Wonder Boy, before you make things worse.
Oh, I know him. Dr. Oh my God.
I'm gonna say it one more time.
Oh, it
One more
was the
time, real
name.
quick. What are you, his little cheerleader? Step aside, Wonder Boy, before you make things worse.
McSteamy.
McSteamy. I'm sorry, McSteamy. He was saying it to Lexi, and they were in the surgery together. I remember this scene. Yeah.
Was I right?
I was fired
that's
up.
right, McSteamy. Yes.
Finally.
I know
Yes.
I said McDreamy at first. I meant McSteamy. That's what I meant. Okay.
Yes, you guys got it, and I like how you broke down the scene. I don't even need to
I
break
know.
down the scene, Chelsea. And Benny, we're gonna leave it on a good note because
Yes,
you
let's
got
just-
one.
Let's be done with it. All right.
I know. I
Uh,
was just enjoying watching Chelsea. I was gonna be like, whatever Chelsea says, that's what
I'm
I'm
gonna go
going
with that one because she knows. She clearly knows the answer.
Yeah.
Mark Sloan.
Exactly.
Mark Stallone, thank you. I
Awesome.
got
Do we have
brain
music?
freeze.
Mark Sloan.
Do we have music, ladies? Or
We have
are we good?
News and gossip,
Am I
Chelsea.
frozen?
Sorry that it was freezing a little bit. I don't know if it was on my end. Okay, well, before I get to news and gossip, we just want to say thank you guys for making AfterBuzz TV the ESPN of TV talk. In order to help us grow, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a comment on Apple Podcasts, and a rating. We really just want to thank Kevin, Maria, and the whole AfterBuzz staff for putting this together, because we're able to communicate with you guys remotely and do what we love.
Exactly.
All right. So for our news and gossip, I know we're not loving this because we're getting an early season finale, but we're just happy that the whole production is being safe right now during this unfortunate time. Last week, we mentioned that we are getting an early season finale, which will be next week. Season 16 will air only 21 of its 25 episodes. Kim Raver, who plays Teddy, sat down with Entertainment Tonight and stated that she trusts Krista, who's the showrunner for Grey's Anatomy. She, quote, "I trust Chris to do what is best for the show," Raver said, "because they have more time. Maybe they'll rework the scenes that they have." She continued, "I think we have some amazing stuff in the can, so I would think that would use some great scenes that we've already shot. But I also equally think that maybe they're thinking that this is an opportunity to see how things play out. It's an opportunity to rework the canvas." So that being said, we have something to look forward to for season 17. And then depending on what happens and what the response they get for the season finale, they might be reworking some new content with the scenes that they already shot.
AKA they're not trying to kill off Richard Weber.
Okay. But
Wow.
jumping off of what
Nice.
you said, Chelsea, that's one thing I was thinking about as far as they have opportunity now, especially since Richard is seeing everybody and going
Yes.
kind of backwards. You have opportunity to kind of bring some characters back, even
Yes.
some who died. I'm just saying, throwing that out there, writers.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. All right, let's go to predictions. What do you guys think is going to happen in the season finale or on the season finale?
I unfortunately still don't think that we're going to get an answer for Richard. I think that something drastic is going to happen surrounding him, and I don't know what, but I definitely think that Richard is going to be what's left on a cliffhanger, or it's going to be the cliffhanger. I think will be something between Teddy, Owen, and Tom.
What about you, Chelsea? Or Lanisha?
I think that DeLuca is going to solve the case. I think as much as he's going, I do still believe that he is going through something, but I think that he is on the right track with Richard, and I think that he's going to be the one to save his life.
I like that prediction. That's a good one.
Okay.
I'm going to echo off of that. And then with this cliffhanger that we're going to get next week, like you said, Haley, we might not know what is wrong with Richard, but it's definitely going to be good enough where it's going to lead us into a season 17. And who knows, we might possibly see more with Meredith and DeLuca since they're working on the case together. Might not be a love relationship. Maybe it's turned into something. I don't know, but it could be a cliffhanger where we get to see maybe more development in their relationship.
I know, because it was like they gave us all this good information on Dr. Hayes, and then it was like,
Yep.
okay, you're not going to see him again.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll definitely see it. Yeah, I don't think anything's wrong with DeLuca. I'm just gonna say it. I think that he's gonna be perfectly fine, and yeah, I think he's gonna be the one to save Richard. And there is gonna be a crazy cliffhanger that's gonna annoy me like no other. But that's what cliffhangers are for. But that is all the time we have for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another after show of Grey's Anatomy. Ladies, go ahead and sign us out. Lanisha.
You guys could follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Lanisha, spelled Lanisha 914.
And what about you, Chelsea?
And you could find me on Instagram at Chelsea Overrocker and on Twitter at Chelsea Overrocker.
And you can find me, guys, on Instagram, Haley Graves with 2 S's. That's HALEYGRAVESS. And on Twitter, Haley1Graves2.
And I'm Benny Adams. You can find me on all social media at Benny J. Adams. We'll see you guys next week's season finale.
Yeah.
Woo!
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.